Take a look at this, guys. This is Andre behind the camera, and I'm in upstate New York at the first drive event for the Rivian R1S SUV. And in this video, I'm gonna give you a behind the scenes look here at this location where many of these R1S SUVs are. I can tell you all the specifications about these because we now know some new tidbits of information. And here's one. Here's the R1S right next to an R1T. So you can kind of get a sense for the difference between the two. And I'm gonna keep walking around. I can show you the launch green color. I can show you several others up on the hill. There's even a truck up there. And I can tell you all the features and all the information about them. So if you look in the profile of the R1S, basically from this section forward, from the B pillar forward, it's basically identical to the R1T. That means it has the same design, same style up front. It has a frunk, about 11.1 cubic feet of space. It has the same bumper design, same light signature. Here's a look at the Rivian lights. Same tow hooks right up here. And very similar wheel designs. But then, of course, things change. Of course, it has a much larger rear door. It has 3 rows of seats. Up to 7 people can sit inside of it. And the wheelbase is drastically shorter by about 14 inches, a little bit more than 14 inches. So more than a foot shorter in wheelbase and about 16 inches plus shorter in overall length. So here's kind of the basics on it. The suspension components are identical. They changed the wheelbase. They're still calling it the large pack as far as the battery. So let's walk up this way. Let's walk up the hill so I can show you this launch edition green. Of course, Rivian has begun building R1S SUVs. They're currently built in Illinois. And they're ramping up production. So some of the first units are being sold to employees, and they're working through first launch vehicle, any potential issues that may happen there, and etc. But they're telling me they're hoping to ramp up production very quickly and get these out the door for customers, for you guys who have ordered them. And of course, pricing can vary between reservation holders or if you just wanted to order one now. And I'll tell you about that a little bit later. What do you think about the design? Let me know in the comments below. So it's got a little bit in the profile as far as the roof line is concerned, because it does have that chrome line to highlight the roof. It reminds me a little bit of maybe a Land Rover SUV. But also, especially with the light signature design here in the back, it reminds me a little bit of maybe a Grand Cherokee L. But of course, these vehicles are very different. The R1S goes on sale with quad motor setup, 4 motors, 835 horsepower, basically the same horsepower as the truck, the R1T, 908 pound-feet of torque. They're estimating 3 seconds 0 to 60. It still has height adjustable suspension that can vary between about 9.5 inches to 15 inches of ground clearance. Pretty monstrous. This is not the highest it can go, but pretty crazy ground clearance. Obviously all-wheel drive, 4 motors. So not hub motors though, inboard motors. The motors are as close to the center line as possible. And you can kind of see the belly of the beast. Largely the frame chassis section of this SUV, just like with the truck, is high-strength steel, various grades of that. The suspension components are aluminum. You can barely see the drive shafts here. And then a lot of the body panels are also aluminum. For example, the piece actually from kind of their rear door section all the way to the back is a single stamping. This is a pretty large stamping. So Rivian is being relatively ambitious in how they want to build these vehicles, obviously for strength, safety, crashworthiness, style, the rest of it. It has to do it all. It has to do everything, of course. So it's got the suspension, it's got the power to be a super high performance vehicle. I'll be driving these, and I'll be also publishing several videos, off-road, on-road. I'll give you my perception, my perspective and first impressions of the range. I'll try to charge one if they let me. Here's an R1T coming up the drive. Pretty cool. You can see multiple colors. There's the blue one. So let me keep walking and kind of tell you a little bit more specs. The launch edition will be first. You don't really have to get it in one color, but you could get that launch edition green I showed you before. And then you can also get forest green, canyon red. There's a silver, a couple of silvers actually. And here you get another perspective as far as the size of this SUV. I hope you can get a sense of it. The wheelbase is actually about 120 inches, so it's about 10 feet. It's a little bit longer by about an inch or two than a Land Rover Defender 110. Here's R1T driving by. Kind of snuck up on me. They also have a charger, level 2 charger Rivian station behind there, that I can show you in a bit. This is an adventure pack, basically a little bit more off-road worthy setup. You can see a different wheel design, which is a 20-inch wheel, snow rated Pirelli Scorpion tire, specific to Rivian. So this is pretty special. You can kind of see little electricity and RIV, Rivian, right there. These are basically 34s. That's what Rivian says, 275, 65 R20s. And they actually have a negative effect on range. EPA range with standard wheels is about 315 miles of total range. That's EPA rating, which is a little bit better than the R1T. Well, the R1S is a little bit lighter in general. And so yes, it is here. And so the range is a little bit more, but you lose about 40 miles according to Rivian when you put on all-terrain tires, which is understandable. The tires are a little bit heavier, they're more aggressive, so you lose a little bit of range there. Here's another look of a different green. This is forest green. I'm hoping I get all the colors right. I think I am. All the color names. This is once again a 22-inch wheel. Here you go. 22 is also a little bit detrimental to range. Rivian says you can lose up to about 20 miles overall with 22s. So you have to decide which wheels you can get. By the way, speaking of wheels, there is no spare technically with the Rivian R1S. You can get a kind of a compact space saver that goes in the back, and then you can also get a full-size spare, but you'll have to take interior space with that. There is a 5.1 cubic foot cubby in the back. In the rear, once again, 3 rows of seats. I cannot show the interior right now because of, sort of to be fair to all the journalists and because of the embargo. So I really wish I could climb inside of everything and show you everything, but this is a behind the scenes first look. I just wanted to be the first to bring you this so you can be the first to see it. But yeah, so there is storage there with 3 rows up. Let's say all 3 rows are up, 7-person capacity. Where do you put your luggage? Well, there's still 11 cubic feet up front. That frunk is still available. Here's another look up here. So electric vehicles definitely give you a little bit more flexibility, but also a ton of performance. We recently did a drag race between a Rivian R1T, a Ram TRX, and a Ford F-150 Lightning. And the Rivian, at least in that matchup, won. The R1T is in the real world super fast. Starting prices, so let's talk about that. I kind of wanted to show you the chargers. I don't know if I can walk there fast enough. Let me speed up. If you have pre-reserved them, of course prices are different. They used to start at about $72,500. Now, for the new buyers after March 1st, 2022, you have different pricing. The R1S starts at $90,000, and then the R1T starts at $85,000. So the truck is still cheaper as far as starting price. And then, of course, the R1S is a little bit more premium. By the way, the truck will tow 11,000 pounds. The SUV will tow up to about 7,700 pounds. Here, I just wanted to show you the installation. This is part of their adventure network. This is not level 3, this is level 2. So I just wanted to give you a perspective of what it looks like. So depending on for example, this hotel or any other location, the charges will be a little bit different. In this case, overnight, you could pick up some charge up to about 11 kilowatts on level 2. Up to about 11. But of course it depends on your location. And then of course, like in Colorado, they're also launching the level 3 chargers. So those are fast speed chargers. So that's about it. I got winded. Sorry about that. Stay tuned for many more videos on TFL EV, TFL Off-Road, TFL Truck, TFL Car. But you don't have to keep track of all of that because you can go to one place, alltfl.com, for everything automotive. Thanks.